Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Aye.
unanimously. All right, item 19, item 19, the authorization to apply for a 2022 historic document preservation grant in the amount of $7,500 for document imaging. This is continuing a program that's been done for years to try to make sure that we have all of our records, as many as possible, imaged in the town clerk's office. And this was talked about at budget time when the town clerk came to us and let us know that this was going to be her request. And so we reviewed this briefly then. Are there any questions or comments on this? Any additional information?
Nope, not from me.
All
Okay,
right.
none from me.
All right. Would one of you like to move this that we recommended to the full council?
I'll move it.
I saw Mr. Jenks. hand
Second.
up, and a second by Mr. Slocum. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes unanimous. Very good. All right. Item 20, discussion and possible action regarding extension of budget deadlines pursuant to the governor's executive order 10E. This happened to have come across the wires right as we were having a budget meeting, I don't know, a week or two ago. And I would like to take advantage of the extra time. I think we've got a lot of unknowns with the state budget. I think we've got a lot of unknowns with the federal money that's coming down through. Not going to be used for operating budget, but there might be some operating effects on some of the potential expenditures regarding the COVID money coming from the federal government. So, and I spoke to my counterpart at the Board of Education a little while ago, and I spoke to town manager and assistant town manager earlier today. All in all, if we wanted to get tax bills out on time, but also wanted to have as much time as possible to get numbers updated, I'd like to recommend that we plan a special council meeting on special council meeting night of May 25th, the fourth Tuesday. But that resolution read we have until May 28th, just to be safe, in case for some reason people are out sick or something that night.
For what you're suggesting is that May 28th is the final approval budget deadline.
Correct. Exactly 1 month longer. And
Okay.
we can go longer, but I think that would
No. I think that's good.
I don't want to go a lot shorter because we run into our monthly council meeting then.
Right.
We need time to work with this, plus the later, the better in terms of getting the most up-to-date information. So, Mr. Slocum, Mr. Jenks, what are your thoughts?
I'm supportive of that.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a good plan.
Okay. All right.
In connection with that, David, at our last budget meeting, I couldn't recall if you said 4:15 was our next budget meeting to talk about things, or you said the 23rd.
The 22nd.
Yep.
The 22nd. Okay.
Yes.
My
Yeah,
notes
it's-
were unclear on that, and I didn't read the minutes. Okay.
Gives us till the end of next week. I would like to have us get an update on, the 1 more month newer of expenditures, one month newer of projected revenues, especially for the departments, and maybe taking into consideration some of the discussions we've had at the 7 budget workshops that we've had with regard to those. So I think that'll be a good meeting for an update. I did let Mr. Grippo from the board of Ed know today that we would be looking for an update no later than the first week of May in order to allow them to have April's numbers in there. Something sooner. They sort of have some numbers that could be updated, but we just met with them last week, so you give them a little bit of time. And I think if we got updated numbers through April's expenditures, that's the latest we're going to get before we adopt. And if we can get those numbers on expenditures first week of May from them, and even an update from the town, I think that would help us in knowing where we are as well. And Mr. Kimball, that's fine. I'm assuming.
That all works. It works well.
All right. So then we'll plan on a budget meeting the first week of May, more likely later. Actually, I don't have the calendar. Let me pull it up on the computer screen here. Maybe we can set the date now. May 6th. Does that sound like it might be okay for everybody?
That's a Thursday. Yep. May 6th.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Okay.
I know, wasn't there's a tentative ordinance meeting one of those nights. I don't think, maybe it wasn't the 6th, but.
Well, I mean, we can be flexible. I hesitate to go into the week for the 13th because we got the council meeting, although you'll be getting ready for the council meeting on the 6th. But let's play it by ear to where you have April 22nd to get some updates, just so we're all in touch with each other. And then the 6th is the more likely where hopefully we can get some updated numbers with regard to expenditures through April. And that'll be about the latest we're going to get.
So the bottom line, David, is we're not really giving ourselves a lot of crunch time to really dicker with the budget. We're
Well,
talking 2 meetings here.
and then
I'm
we
not
have,
suggesting we don't have, we have more than 2 meetings, but I think normally we've debated this issue a little bit longer because it took more minds to be made up or whatever. And here we're looking at revenue numbers that are very different. We don't know what they really are. I mean, from the state, I should not use revenue numbers. And a bigger budget increase than we've seen in a long time, and maybe for obvious reasons. But I think we better plan for a little debate time.
well, I think we're going to have a lot of meetings from May 6th to May 25th.
Okay, good. You're talking about the final budget meeting, getting together with resolutions and that sort of thing on May 6th. Is that what you mean? Okay,
No,
fine. Okay.
no, the 6th would only be updates.
Okay.
Through April's expenditures, which is the 10 months of the year. We'll have better numbers what the expenditures are. Then we start looking at, okay, if the mill rate is still too high with all these changes, what do we want to request be taken out and get the consequences of that?
I just want to know we have enough time in the sandbox. That's all I care about.
I hope, my expectation is that from the 6th to the 19th, from the 6th to the 25th is 19 days. And that would be the crunch time.
Okay.
For the horse trading, if you will.
Right.
I don't think we
Well,
should.
I appreciate, stretching it out a little, but as long as we get the same coverage in, we just have more information. It's basically what's
Right.
occurring here. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great to me.
So this is bumping the operating budget deliberations, what, a month later or no?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the charter would provide that we have to have a operating budget adopted by April 30. I'm asking for an additional 4 weeks so that we have the time to get updated numbers.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. This is bumping the capital budget deliberations.
Yeah, the capital budget. I don't know exactly what Mayor Orris has in mind for the education portion of it, but I think right after we adopt this, we're still well within time. We still have another 90 days to adopt the capital budget if we have anything that would need to go to referendum. So we would have June, July, and August after we're done with the operating budget. So we will have a hearing scheduled for May 11th on the beginning of the capital budget. And then I think we would get to the capital budget in earnest right after we finish the operating budget.
Sounds good to me.
For the summer.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And a lot of the capital budget is going to depend on what the interpretation of some of the funds coming in from the federal government can be used for, and also what happens with education. That's the big gorilla in the room.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it makes sense. We have a lot of kind of unknowns right now, so it makes sense.
Right. So this way we can wrap up about a month, a little more than a month now, the operating budget, and get fully into the capital budget. I know the intent is to get them synced up one of these days, and maybe next year will finally be the first normal year where that can be done. But this year still has too many major unknowns.
Absolutely.
So,
No, it makes sense.
all right. So if we're all on the same page, then that's good. Then I guess for item 20, extension of budget deadlines, there's a motion in there that was blank with the date. So if we could fill that in to be May 28th, but with the expectation that we would have our special council meeting on May 25th and adopt the budget that night.
I think that's fine. I'll move that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you, Jim. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
3. Okay, very good. So then that we will forward tonight to the council. Now, the next one is 2 wonderful gifts that we every year so generously receive from Elam Park. Acceptance and appropriation of $195,000 donation from Elam Park Baptist Home to the police department, and like amount to the Cheshire Fire Department. And these are items that every year they donate in lieu of taxes, a generous amount. And these are items that they would prefer be off budget, not items that should be budgeted. And we've received in their requests from both departments as to how they would like to spend things to be extraordinary to the budget and extra training and equipment and things like that that might not ordinarily be able to fit in the operating budget. And so what's your pleasure on these motions to accept these gifts?
Well, my pleasure is to accept them.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Both of them even.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Well, we'll do
I
both
mean,
motions together.
hate to get in a fight over that.
We're doing both motions together. Mr. Kimball, is that also agreeing to the expenditures? Does this motion also appropriate the
Well, the
expenditures?
council accepts them, yeah. with-
It does, yeah, it's accepting and appropriating them. And as you
Right.
see, there's, both departments have put forward their expected plans
Yeah.
to use. And so if those are consistent with the council's support, then yes, it is appropriating those funds for the same.
Okay.
Right.
So we know that it's more than just accepting the gifts. It's actually appropriating.
Oh, yeah, it's appropriating funds. Yeah, and we always usually discuss that a little. This seems like a fairly straightforward, typical list, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a few things in there. I guess with the police, we're looking at some stuff going toward maybe the downstairs stuff that's going on. Is that correct?
Carpeting and equipment.
Is that related to the improvements that are going on in lower level for?
Would you like me to?
Yes, that would be good.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
Chief
this
Jordan,
is-
yes.
This is separate and aside from the other construction project that's going to be
Oh,
commenced
okay.
shortly. But the downstairs, it's all part of the lower level of the police department, and that
Okay.
particular wing, the detective bureau, has a lot of moisture, and over the
Sure.
last several years, the carpet's been getting moldy, and so it is suffering the same.
So it speaks to the same problem.
Same
and it's
problem.
going-
that'll be
That's
remedied
perfect.
with the-
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Good.
So,
Are there other questions on the expenditures or the gift? All right, sensing you're
No.
ready to vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes unanimously. All right, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding $12,323 appropriation from the Energy Rebate Performance Fund for an energy efficient control system. This was
Pool related, right? Is that pool related?
Is pool related, yep.
Right. That's what I thought I recalled. John is here to tell us all about that, but we know if it's on there, it's needed, right?
It is,
Yes.
yeah. I can sort of kick it off if you'd like. John and I, John and some of the public works maintenance staff have been looking into some issues with the boiler and the two boilers, the efficient and the less efficient, the antique boiler that was there before, that weren't communicating well together. And this is a solution. And again, John can jump in and give a little more detail, but this is a solution that we support. And in terms of the dollar amounts, that's what I'll speak to first. We were looking to identify about $12,323 per the quote that's attached. In working with Jim Jascott, we found that there was a remaining balance of about $13,828 remaining in the leftover rebate from the large energy, right? That Amoresco project, if you will, right? So we had appropriated all, but this remaining $13,000, about a $1.2 million project, and so this remaining balance exists that would support this this appropriation. So, John, is there anything you want to fill in on the details of the system?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you a little history. Back in October, Sheila informed me that we started having some issues with the old, was it the Wheel McLean boiler, and the newer Lochinvar boiler. We went through a couple of different service calls. And what's interesting and which I found out is that you have two different vendors that are servicing different parts of that pool. You have SNE and then NEEC. SNE is really the automated, digital control function of everything at the pool and some of the other buildings in town. And then you have NEEC, which actually is both. So long story short, we spent a little bit of money trying to troubleshoot, and we finally came to a repair solution. in early March. Sean was a part of a meeting with NEEC and Public Works maintainers, or the building guys, and we were able to get both boilers to talk to one another. The main issue is they're working and operating now. They were offline. One of them was offline for a while, which apparently is not a good thing. But the main thing about it is that now the two boilers cannot be monitored remotely, which if there's a problem or there's an alert, there's something going on, we're not going to know until the next day that someone goes into the building. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're looking to take care of this situation right now, and that's what this appropriation is for.
And Sean, I thought, Sean, you had mentioned too that one of these characters was easier to work with than the other. Or am I conflating stories?
Yeah, I mean, in through this experience, certainly since October, and I know John can speak firsthand, but yes, the NEC was very responsive to our calls. I think more so than the other company was, frankly, and that's really critical as we try to get this thing up and running, especially through a winter when your boilers keeping the water warm aren't functioning well. So, yeah, for that reason, it supported our belief that this is the right direction to go.
Does one boiler do the water and one boiler do the air? Is that how they work? Or
No, one is more efficient. The Lochinvar, it's really down to just efficiency. It was brought in that high efficient. Almost think of it as those on-demand hot water heaters that you get for your house or something. So it's really just a smaller, more efficient system.
Less energy.
Much more energy efficient. And the larger is really there, right? More as a backup, cycles on and off,
Correct.
but there as a backup. As the Lochinvar failed, really because of this technological glitch, we were forced to use the larger one, like we had years before the Amoresco project, but certainly it wasn't running as efficiently as it should have been. And our fuel consumption over the winter really has supported that. So I think we're looking for this fix going forward, so we won't be in that same position again.
okay, so almost a redundancy that is actually going to work and save us, be more efficient and save us dollars, which is great.
Yep.
Right. Are there other questions or comments regarding this?
Just so I understand, we're not replacing a boiler. We're just upgrading the systems to monitor the boilers and make them more efficient. That's all it is.
That's right.
Correct.
It's really the system that sits on top, and then the architecture that allows you to see that on a screen from your home computer. They have to kind of model all those out, and there have to be little sensors that indicate whether it's running and what temperature it's at and all those sort of things. Those are already there, and now they'll be able to talk on the same system. So,
Okay, thank you.
All right. Would one of you gentlemen move that we
I'll
recommend?
move that.
So
Yep,
moved
second.
by Mr. Jenks. Any further discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye
Aye.
Aye.
unanimously. So we are at point for adjournment. Who would like to move that?
So moved.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimous. All right. The budget